The holidays are soon going to be upon us, and we'll be hanging out with some of our favorite people in the whole world, aren't we? Huh? Some of them are our least favorite people in the world sometimes, right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? We love our family, but golly, geez, and 2 months in a row. I mean, Halloween's one thing. You go to the door and like, yeah, the kids are cute. Goodbye. See you next month. Golly, geez, right? But Thanksgiving and then Christmas, yeah. And don't act like you don't ask. Oh, who's all coming? Is everybody going to make it to Grandma's? Specifically this person, right? Am I wrong? Some of us don't. Some of us do. Some of us, the office parties. Is Jim going to bring his wife again to the office party? Because you remember last year. Yeah, we will be about to surround ourselves with people that we love, for better or for worse. Am I wrong? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I thought this would be a good time. This is something we need to talk about all the time, but especially as we reach the holidays. I see stress, as a pastor, I see stress levels begin to rise at the holidays. Am I wrong? Some of y'all feel that? Stress levels rise, and for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes for pressure we put on ourselves to make it perfect. And other times because relational conflicts. Yeah. Today I want to talk a little bit about forgiveness. Can we do that? Forgiveness? Because I don't think people know what forgiveness is. We have no working definition of it. We don't know what it is. All we know is that we're not going to do it. Yet the scriptures tell us to forgive. We're going to actually spend two weeks on this. Is that cool with you guys? I need affirmation on this, or am I doing it? All right. Thank you, Ty, and everybody else. All right. So I'm going to begin by confessing. There have been times in my life where I've found it very difficult to forgive people. I'll tell you most recently. These people right here. I just began watching Little House on the Prairie. The Olsens are pure evil. Has anybody here ever watched Little House on the Prairie? Raise your hand. Well, it's on Amazon Prime now. Never watched it as a kid. I don't know why we didn't watch it as a kid in my house, but we didn't. And Scarlett came home one day and she wanted to watch it. I'm like, all right, we'll watch it. Love the show. Love the Engel family. These people are pure evil. First of all, they look very happy. Listen, I'm going to spend some time on the Olsens, but I need to get it out. I'm not forgiving them. So, first of all, she is Satan herself. Harriet, Nellie here, the spawn of Satan. The day that when Nellie, and I forget the boy's name. He's Nellie's sister. What is it? Willie. Oh, I don't like him either, but that one especially. She's probably one of my favorite actresses in the world right now because I completely buy into how evil she is. The day that they were calling Mary Four Eyes, oh, snap. I couldn't with them. Here's the thing, though, and while that's funny and that's a joke, I'm using it as a way to kind of soften the message that's about to come because we can laugh about how it's hard for Josh to not forgive the Olsens. Because the Olsens aren't changing, are they? They are the way they are. They're always going to be that way. They said hurtful things and done hurtful things to my family, your family, the whole community. What's the name of that town? What's the name of that town? What? Walnut Grove. And the good people of Walnut Grove still go to their store. While she sits there and haggles with Carolyn about the price of her eggs. I'll buy Carolyn. Let's cut out the middleman. Let's go buy Carolyn's eggs right from Carolyn. Forget about them. Oh, one more thing, because I'm not done yet. I've got issues here. We try to act like that guy's a nice guy. He needs to get his family in order fast. The spineless. I don't like him either. So that's the Olsens. Thank God we don't have any Olsens in our lives, do we? You with me now? We have some Olsens in our life, don't we, that we just really have a hard time forgiving. We have a hard time loving, liking, forgiving, associating with, being with. And we have Olsens in different areas of life. We have Olsens in our families. We all have some in-laws that are Olsens. Am I wrong? We have some in-laws that are Olsens. We have some co-workers that are Olsens. We got entire departments at work that are Olsens. We have the board chair in the group that we're a part of that are Olsons, like if they would stop, can we get them out of leadership and we can do so much better. But because they are, and why don't we kick them? I don't know, but it's just, we struggle with that. We've got teammates, we've got coaches, we've got teachers that are Olsons, right kids? Yeah. Teachers, you've got lots of kids that are Olsons, am I wrong? Bless your hearts. I always tell kids, you don't like your teacher, wait till you meet your boss. Yeah. We all have Olsons in our life. We have people that is very, very hard to forgive. But what the heck does forgiveness mean? Like, really, what's it mean? We teach little kids, whenever somebody apologizes to them, to say, it's okay, don't we? Well, that's ridiculous. It's not okay. Just because they apologized, it was half-hearted, by the way, or no heart in it at all, they just mumbled words. It's not okay. Let's stop teaching kids to say that. It's not okay. Let's talk about forgiveness and what it actually is and what it's not. I'm not an expert on this by any means. Here we go. Matthew 18:21-35. Peter's dealing with somebody you can tell who sinned against him, who's offended him, who's sinned against him, who's wronged him, I don't know what. And he's got Jesus to ask. Like, Jesus, what are we going to do here? What should I do about forgiving people? Then Peter came to him and asked him, Lord, how often should I forgive someone who sins against me? 7 times? I love Peter. He's like me. I love checklist. After the 7th time, that's when I can beat him up, right? That's whenever I can do whatever, right? We can just cast him aside, not invite him to Christmas anymore, fire him at work, whatever. 7 times. Is that good, Jesus? Are we working on this number? He likes black and white. 7 times? No, not 7 times, Jesus replied, but 70 times 7. Now, some of y'all nerds are getting out your calculators like, okay, that's the number I'll go with. That's not his point. He's saying, look, we're not keeping track of that. As a matter of fact, as you read the scriptures, you'll see that number 70 times 7 translated different times. He's saying perpetually, keep forgiving, no matter what. Man, I don't like that message. 7 times sounded good to me. And Jesus is like, no, you just got to keep on forgiving. And then Jesus keeps on off his wisdom. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven can be compared to a king who decided to bring his accounts up to date with servants who had borrowed money from him. In the process, one of his debtors was brought in who owed him millions of dollars. He couldn't pay. So his master ordered that he be sold, along with his wife, his children, everything he owned, to pay the debt. But the man fell down before his master and begged him, please be patient with me, and I will pay it all. I mean, you can see this. You feel the stress here. Like, I can't, but if you give me a little bit more time, I'll get it paid. Like, come on, work with me here. Then his master was filled with pity for him, and he released him and forgave his debt. Forgave it. Didn't just give him more time, he forgave it. But when the man left the king, he went to a fellow servant who owed him a few $1,000s. He grabbed him by the throat and demanded instant payment. His fellow servant fell down before him and begged for a little more time. Be patient with me, and I will pay it, he pleaded. You see what's happening here? Shoes on the other foot, roles have been reversed. But his creditor wouldn't wait. He had the man arrested and put in prison until the debt could be paid in full. When some of the other servants saw this, they were very upset. They went to the king and told him everything that had happened. Then the king called in the man who he had forgiven and said, you evil servant, I forgave you that tremendous debt because you pleaded with me. Shouldn't you have mercy on your fellow servant just as I had mercy on you? When the angry king sent the man to prison to be tortured until he has paid his entire debt. And then Jesus closes with this. That's what my heavenly Father will do to you if you refuse to forgive your brothers and sisters from your heart. Dang, that's heavy, right? Jesus is calling us to forgive. What's the parable really showing? Like, you have been forgiven. Let's start there. You have been forgiven. You just didn't sin against the accounting department. You just didn't sin against your in-laws. You just didn't sin against, you name it. You sinned against a good and holy God who offered you paradise, and you sinned against him anyhow. But yet we struggle to forgive other people, even though we have been forgiven for so so much. I'm that dude. I struggle with it. I can really struggle with forgiveness if you're anything like me. So this is a beautiful example of Jesus. He's on the cross, slowly being tortured to death. Two others, both criminals, were led out to be executed with him. When they came to a place called the Skull, they nailed him to the cross, and the criminals were also crucified, one on his right and one on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." And the soldiers gambled for his clothes by throwing dice. "Father, forgive them." I couldn't do that. Like maybe after years of therapy and counseling, after I've been tortured, maybe then I can begin to consider forgiving people. Jesus is saying, "Father, forgive them. I know they're crucifying, you're torturing your son right now, but forgive them right now. Forgive them this moment." That's a level of forgiveness that's hard for me to express, but yet it was expressed to me. Why are we like this? Why are we like this? Jesus here speaking again in Matthew, "We have heard the law that says the punishment must match the injury. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth." So that was an Old Testament teaching. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You hear it today, right? Why was this law in the Old Testament? What do we tend to do? We seek revenge. We don't seek just, "Hey, you damaged my car. I need you to fix that, please. I need you to fix that. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth." We're like, "You damaged my car. I'm going to damage your house." Look, back in my day, teenagers don't toilet paper as much anymore. Well, some of you do, even though you're not teenagers anymore. Thank you very much. Back in the day, we're going to go TPing. Y'all know what TPing is? I'm going to go ahead and, okay, let's go. It's whenever you get toilet paper and throw it in your neighbor's trees and I'm going to have to get it tomorrow, right? If you ever participated in this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Retaliation, revenge. If your buddy comes and toilet paper at your house with one roll of toilet paper, what you going to do? You going to take it down and give it back to him? No, what you going to do? How many rolls of toilet paper are you taking to your buddy's house? Oh, you're not taking two. He got you with one. You're not taking two. You and three other buddies are taking bags of toilet paper. 5. Oh, there you go. And you're going to get, and you will make him pay for this, won't you? And then what do? Yeah, they come back with even more and more. And the next thing you know, kids start doing crazy stuff and vandalism gets, and it's just nuts, right? But that's human nature. That's what we do in our own life. I mean, that's a cute little Halloween toilet paper story, but we do that in our own lives. We take revenge and we go for the throat quickly. So the Old Testament teachers are like, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Like, stop just trying to go for the jugular. They just did a minor offense to you. Eye for an eye. Let's not go back for more. Let's just make things right. Let's just seek justice. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So the people started really eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You hit me, I hit you. You steal from me, I steal from you. So Jesus says, you have heard the law that says punishment must match the injury, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say, what's he going to do? What's he about to say here? Something different? But I say, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, offer the other cheek also. If you are sued in court and your shirt is taken from you, give your coat too. If a soldier demands that you carry his gear for a mile, carry it 2 miles. Give to those who ask, and don't turn away from those who want to borrow. Is he actually saying if somebody's abusing you, physically harming you, to let them continue to harm you more? That's not the point here, guys. Let's not get too literal about his teaching here. Somebody's sinning against you. This is forgiveness 2.0. What's wrong with you, bro? Why are you doing that to me? What's going on in your life? What needs are not being met in your life? How can I love you? You seem to be lashing out right now. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a confusing thing. We need to get some kind of working definition, don't we, folks? Forgiveness. Somebody's done something wrong to you. They've sinned against you. They called you names. They're rude to you at work. They cut you off in traffic. Which that don't happen in Branchville, right? Or in Perry County. Rarely does somebody cut you. I don't know. Some of y'all drive the interstate. Some of y'all drive the interstate to work, you know. Somebody done something bad to you. And you carry that around with you. And you're like, Josh, that's not too big of a rock. I mean, you seem to be able to handle that. Yeah, I can. I can handle it. Now, I could probably go to work with it tomorrow. You know, I'll find a place to put this in my lap, but it starts to get kind of a little annoying, you know, after like a few days of just carrying this around and start to interfere with, you know, ball or school or work or, you know, it's hard to get it's just hard to do things. It's hard to hang out with friends and watch the ball game. We've got the stupid rock here. But you're carrying around, you're not letting it go because you remembered and it wasn't right. Doggone it. You know who gave me this rock? Ty Cronin. That one. Ha ha, I still have it. I'm going to carry it around, and I'm not letting it go. I'm not going to talk to you, by the way. I'm not going to help you on that project. You need it either. And I'm carrying it around. Isn't this bothering Ty so badly that I'm carrying this around? After a few days, this starts to hurt my back a little bit. It starts getting achy. It starts affecting the things that I do in life. And I'm carrying it around, acting like it's hurting Ty over here. Who's the one that's being burdened by this rock? Me. Forgiveness isn't so much about Ty right now. It's about me dropping this rock. It's a release, if you will, or a letting go. It's a Ty, you look. Okay. I'm going to set that down. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to release it. I'm not going to let it dictate my life right now. I'm going to set it aside. What are we not saying, guys? The rock's there. There was a rock. I'm going to name it. It's this one. That rock. But I'm not carrying it around with me anymore. I don't wish harm on Ty anymore. I'm not going to seek revenge on Ty anymore. I want this to be justified. He stole my deer stand. How about that one? Anybody here had a deer stand stolen before? Yeah, sure. Figure some of us have. They didn't steal your trail cam, though, did they? And you know who it was. It was Ty. That's what you did, by the way. You stole my... He didn't actually do this, by the way, okay? So I want my trail camera. I want my deer stand back. We're going to have a talk about the deer stand. And also, the sheriff's department might get involved. It just depends on the situation. I'm not going to get too far in the weeds on these. Every situation is different, but justice must prevail, okay? Like, the rock is here. He gave me the rock. I demand justice. The Bible is all for justice. Let's be clear about that. Forgiveness doesn't say, it's okay that you stole my deer stand. Hope you get a big one. Ha ha. That's not forgiveness. That's enabling. Saying that rock doesn't exist is a lie. It's also not a good way to love Ty, to let him go on being a thief in his life and lying about things. That's not loving Ty, that's enabling Ty. There's a rock. I'm setting it down. I want justice, but you know what I don't want? I want all of his deer stands and his new Mossberg. It's mine now. We tend to do that, don't we? So I'm carrying it around. I don't want him to learn from this. I don't want him to, be like, man, that was wrong. Why am I stealing things? I have lots of deer stands. I'm not wishing well on him. I'm not just demanding justice. We get to the point where I want his Mossberg. I want his truck. Where's Bodie at today? I want Bodie's deer stand too. Yeah, so we do. Come on up here, Ty. Come on up here. Come on up here. You gave this to me. Oh, I didn't tell Ty he was going to be a part of the sermon today. Let's all give it up for Ty. So you gave me this, and I'm not setting it down, okay? Get back from me a little bit. I'm not happy with you. I need space. So what do? What do I do to Ty? Here you go. There you go. I know where your deer stands are at. I'm taking them too. And I saw your trail cams. Why did you take my trail cam? That wasn't very smart of you. I took your trail cams too. I don't know if you know this or not. But your soon-to-be brother-in-law, here, he's a jerk. He's still, come on up there. Give him that. He still, has he sold your deer stands? Do you have him locked up?
Yeah.
Well, you better, because you go give him that. Because he steals, you can go sit down now.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate it. He steals deer stands from people. I want you all to know that. Anybody that has a rock, come bring it to him. Give him more rocks, okay? Now, we can debate here. Let's a little side note. This is what's insane about it. It could be argued that Ty, who's 20-0, and I, who am 40 on the dot, not 41, but 40, possibly he could hold more rocks than me. But I'll still keep on getting in this rock war. Have you seen that? People who will lose eventually, because he's going to give me more rocks. People who eventually lose, they don't care. They're so mad they're still in it. You ever seen a divorce go down like this? Lawyers make tons of cash, but I'm not giving her a dime. You've seen this before, haven't you? And everybody loses, but I don't care. I'm in the moment. I'm not forgiving. We're just all going to fight. So what's he start doing? I only have one more rock. No, you keep those. You don't get rid of those. He starts giving me rocks. Next thing you know, I have 3 rocks. Then I give him 5 rocks, 6 rocks. And then it gets really scary, because not only have I pull people into this, come up here, Caleb. I'm recognizing that Ty can handle a lot of rocks. How you like that, buddy? How you like that? I know her boss. Somebody's going to talk to you Monday morning, okay? You see how this goes and goes and goes and never stops? That's what's natural for human beings. At some point, you just got to set the rock down. You can put the rock down. Thank you, guys. Good job, everybody. We get to a point where we actually begin to hurt their loved ones. Because I'm not hurting Ty anymore, but if I hurt Kaylin, I know it'll cut him to the core. It'll cut him deep, so I'll do it. So I'm so mad about it. There's an economy of forgiveness. There's a flow to it, and if we're not willing to extend forgiveness, we can't forgive it either, because, well, I'm different than him. Yeah, God forgave me, because I guess I sinned, whatever. But I'm not like him. I really don't need forgiveness. No, I mean, I didn't say that. Of course I need forgiveness, but I really don't. See how that heart is? What I'm actually saying there? We refuse to set the rock down. We refuse to forgive. Forgiveness is just letting it, I hate to say the word letting it go, because people say that, and I hate it when people say, just let it go. That means a lot of different things. But it's releasing it. Stole my deer stand. I might call can you help me out on this? I might call the deputies up, especially if he's not going to give it back. I want my deer stand back. He needs to learn from this. We need to have a conversation. But I forgive him. I'm not going to steal his deer stand. I'm not here to steal his brother's deer stand now. I just want justice. But I forgive it. But it did happen. I'm going to claim it. You know what we also like to do a lot? If you're like me, I've forgiven him, okay? I've set the rock down. He got a big buck this year, though. And when I see things like that, and I think of him and his deer stand having a happy time, killing a big buck, oh gosh, I just want to come back over here and pick it up again. Makes me mad to think he's out there having a good time hunting. He probably stole somebody else's deer stand to kill that deer, didn't he? So we go back and pick it up. This isn't a one-time thing. This action is not a one-time thing. Because if you're like me, you go back here and doggone it, you got to continue to forgive. To continue, sometimes daily, weekly, monthly, depending on the situation. You got to learn to set it down. Who do we need to forgive? Who do we need to forgive? We need to forgive people who don't even know that they've hurt you. Some people who haven't really hurt you, they didn't mean anything bad by it, and you're just being way too sensitive about it. We need to forgive them. I'm going to be really, this time I'm serious, be really honest with you. I have a decent fear of rejection. It's taken several sessions with a therapist to discover that. That's why I've always feared rejection, because I have a fear of rejection. I have a fear of rejection. So if I don't watch that, I can get you really defensive really quickly, and you're coming to get me. He's just looking at my deer stand. What do you want my deer stand for? You want us to take it, don't you? Because you don't like me. You don't think I'm a good hunter. You don't think I'm a good pastor. So we got to watch that. Let me give you a simple example of that. Anybody here got any preteen girls or no preteen girls who like to roll their eyeballs at things? Right? What is it about that just like nails on a chalkboard, right? Like, don't do that. But it is. So I have to keep my fear of rejection in check, because we can believe lies. Satan likes to tell us lies. We can believe those quickly, so we have to remind ourselves of the truths. That no, not everybody is rejecting you. So in softball, 4th through 6th grade, softball, I'm the coach of the yellow team, go yellow team. And I'm the fun coach. Like, I don't even know that much about softball, honestly. Had no idea it was fast pitch softball until the draft. I'm like, I've never done this before. Let's give it a try. But I'm the fun coach. I'm the one that brings the jam box. And, you know, I'm the coach that if Fancy Like comes on, which it comes on, say request it. You know Fancy Like Applebee's on a date night. Y'all don't know Fancy Like? Okay, anyhow. When that comes on, the girls know they can stop warming up and do their dance for a little bit. So I'm the fun coach. You know, I'm the guy that, hey, they scored 3 runs on us this inning. Right here, you know, as they're coming in, you know, Knuckles, you know, I'm the fun coach. Last game. The other team had a really good inning and they tied us. Like, oh, God, geez. They got somebody on third and we made some errors and, you know, but I'm the fun coach, but I'm like, time out. So I meet him at the mound. And I'm not like on him. I'm like, hey guys, so runner on third, she cannot come in. That would be the go-ahead run, okay? So here's what we're gonna do to prevent that, and this and that, you know. And of course everybody's frustrated because we all know we just had some errors, and we know we thought we had the game won, and they kind of came back. So we're all a little bit frustrated. They have the right to be frustrated, you know. I'm like, all right, we can do this. Let's go. And as we close the huddle, one of the girls goes, and I was immediately like, what? I didn't say this, but immediately that little trigger. And I never know when it's going to be triggered. If you're like me, you never know when things are going to trigger you. That trigger, I'm not the fun coach. Like, so for a 3-second walk back to the dugout, I'm not the fun coach, am I? I'm really not good at this. They're not having fun anymore. I'll bench her. You know, I have to watch myself. I didn't say I'll bench her or anything like that. You've got to watch yourself. You've got to recognize, like, she has a right to be frustrated. She don't even need my forgiveness. I need to get on with life. I need to get over it. That could have been at the ball game, the errors she just made, the fact that we might lose this game. It could be at me. If it is, okay. Sometimes, I know this is going to be hard to believe, sometimes people are too sensitive anymore. I'm sure you've not seen that before. And it's easy to spot it in other people. Can you spot it in yourself? Sometimes we need to realize that people actually haven't harmed us. They haven't done anything against us. They have not sinned against us. We just need to move on with it. Sometimes people do sin against us. They cut us off in traffic. They use all the paper at the copy machine at work and didn't put any more in there. Things like that. We need to not hold grudges over those kind of simple things. We need to set that down real quick and move on with our lives. I just said some really simple things, but then it gets more and more serious, doesn't it? How people have really actually harmed you. They said hurtful things to you, your children. And it keeps on amping up. They stole from you. You name it. For every face that's in here, you've had people wrong you and sin against you. And a lot of times that begins to get harder and harder to forgive because more damage was done. And some of you are here right now and saying, Josh, your little illustration here of this rock that weighs 10 pounds is real cute, but I'm being crushed by a daggone boulder right now, and I can't carry it around. How do I forgive that? Because I can't even get out from underneath of it. Abuse betrayal, verbal abuse. Can we just talk, just side note, verbal abuse is real abuse. I think in America we've been way too accustomed to it. How do we put those things down? Because that can be really hard, and I'm not going to Christmas with them. And maybe you don't need to go to Christmas with them. Next week we're going to talk a little bit about those great big boulders. We're going to talk a little bit more about boundaries, what forgiveness looks like whenever the harm and hurt is just big. And it's crushing. It's crushing you, it's crushing those around you. We're going to talk about what it looks like to forgive in a healthy way. We're going to talk a little bit about boundaries. What I want to close with today, guys, is look, as you enter into a relationship, just from the get-go, understand that for that relationship to succeed, forgiveness will have to take place because you are as screwed up as I am. We're all screwed up. We all make mistakes. We all come with baggage. We all come with triggers. We all hurt other people's feelings. In every relationship, with relationships, even with organizations, you're going to have to enter into that relationship ready to forgive. If you cannot forgive in any relationship, stop trying to get in relationships. A lot of times you see a lot of relationships falling apart. It's not because there's something necessarily wrong with this relationship, because somebody in that relationship forgives to forgive somebody else in the past. I can't have a normal relationship with women. I don't know what it is. I've gone, I keep on going through girlfriends, and I'm on my third divorce. I don't know what this is. A lot of times you trace it back, something, it's been a relationship in the past that you've not forgiven yet. And you're still carrying that around, and it's affecting your day-to-day life and your relationships today. But you can't forgive that one. It's all interwoven, guys. It's all connected. As you get into relationships, you will have to forgive, and you will have to be forgiven. Whenever I do weddings, one of the things I say, one of the things I have them repeat it, for better, for worse. Worse will come. Worse will come, for better or for worse. You have to enter relationships ready to forgive. Next week we will talk more about the huge, big rocks in our lives and how we can, what it looks like to forgive and move on. Oftentimes, I've seen this happen a lot. People have been forgiven. But people are like, you need to forgive them. Well, I have. Well, you don't have Christmas with them anymore. Well, that doesn't mean that I haven't forgiven them. So we want to talk a little bit about boundaries, what forgiveness is and what it's not. We're going to go that a little bit deeper. But as you can imagine, this might get a little heavy for you next week. I'm not going to call people out, but we all have those big boulders in our lives, right, that have crushed us. As we leave today, know this. That's what we started with. You have been forgiven. You have been forgiven by God. Even if you do not receive that forgiveness, even if you're like, I don't need it, he extends it out there. And he lets you know about it. You've been forgiven. By the way, you can forgive dead people. You can forgive people who you don't even need to tell them that they're forgiven. But you can still forgive people. You've been forgiven. You can forgive people for things that nobody else knows about. They don't even know they've harmed you about. You sinned against God in ways you don't even understand. But yet he's forgiven you for that. Do you believe that and do you receive that? Do you believe that and do you receive that? He loves you enormously. He hasn't forsaken you. He's not like the other relationships. He didn't say, you sinned, you screwed up, forget you. He said, no, I love you anyhow. And he gave his own life for you. So as we say, atone for your sins. He not only forgave you, he offered the payment for your sins. Are you willing to receive that? Are you willing to receive that love? Are you willing to actually follow him? My challenge for you this week is that. Do I receive God's forgiveness? Have I decided to actually follow him? Do I believe that I'm loved? Can I receive that? And then secondly, let's start to begin to think about the day-to-day forgiveness that we need to do. The people in the workplace, the people we run into that we're having some conflict with. I'm not ready to deal with the big rock. Okay, we'll get to that next week. So my challenge this week, your boss, your coworker, your neighbor who don't cut their grass properly. I mean, who do you need to forgive? Let's pray. God, we love you. We thank you for giving us first. We thank you for being a good God. And I pray that we begin to understand what it looks like to forgive and what it doesn't look like to forgive. I pray that the world sees your love for us in the way that we love them. It's in the name of Jesus I pray. Amen.